Hello, podcast world. Good evening. This is Chats with Baba, brought to you by Lighthouse for Academic and Cultural Excellence. The purpose of this podcast is to inform, empower, and educate parents of young Black children. The information is good for all children, but I target young Black children simply because they have untapped gifts and undeveloped gifts that need to be brought forward. There is genius in our children. And so by informing you, you are able to nurture that development and bring forth those gifts. So again, hello, parents of young Black children. I want to talk to you today about a couple of things. Hold on just a moment. I'm getting all these stuff that's coming. Yeah, so again, I want to talk to parents about a couple of things this evening that you need to be aware of. This COVID-19 has caused 2 years of interruption and disruption in the education of your children. It's interrupted the teaching of my students at the university. And so I deal with that as a professor, but as a parent, you know, young children are impacted very differently in terms of their social emotional development. Lots of schools have taken on something that's called social emotional learning, and they have a chunk of time in the built into the day. Well, they will deal with this whole issue of children's social emotional development. Now, I'm saying to you as parents, you need to be aware of their behavior in terms of how it's impacting them. They've not had, over the last 2 years, and they've not had time to spend with their friends and all of the things that we expect of young children. Let me give an example. One of my church members today and she's a teacher, and they, at this time of the year, they're now into testing. She talked about the emotions that children were just kind of going through, having to take these tests with lack of content, lack of preparation, but yet still the school is demanding or requiring that they have to take these tests. So she shared with our Bible study audience, you know, some of what she's experiencing as a teacher. I might point out that the state of Illinois has passed legislation where they're doing away with testing with preschool through the second grade. They said that so much time is just put in on this testing, and it just takes away from the children's development, and it takes away from the children's learning, and so forth and so on. Yeah, so as I was saying, the COVID-19 has impacted and has had a dramatic effect on children, dealing with trauma, dealing with all sorts of things that you don't anticipate in a regular school year. So I say to you as parents, you know, attend to your children, spend time talking with them. What are they feeling? And how is it bothering them? And I suggest that you can at least contact the school counselor, let them know what you're seeing and how to deal with it. This is just an unusual time in the lives of children over the past 2 years. And it certainly has impacted what they not only their development, but it's interrupted what they've learned. I mean, you've had 2 years of two school years where the teaching has been disrupted, and so there's you're going to see gaps in their learning. So I just suggest to you as parents, just attend to those kinds of things. Now, having said that, the topic that I want to focus on this evening, it ties in, is to help you to understand how to build confidence in your children. You know, as I said early on, that our children, Black children, have untapped gifts and other talents, and there's genius in them. Well, the genius has to be nurtured and it has to be cultivated. Think about planting something, and you have to anything that you plant needs a good weather, good soil. It has to be nurtured, and in the nurturing process, you allow it to grow. You allow it to grow and to reach its full growth. So the same thing with children, by nurturing them early on and being supportive of them, it allows them to have a sense of confidence. And so I want to talk a little bit about, building that confidence in your children. And you want to build it early on. You want to build it early. And one of the things that in building that confidence is that you are giving them unconditional love. It's not based on anything other than your love for them as a parent, and they come to appreciate this. And you affirm their that confidence building. You affirm it on a daily basis, every day, and they come to understand that mommy, daddy, auntie, but the primary caregivers really loves them. And you don't, and it's not conditional. The other thing is, pay attention to them as they're doing things. If they're engaging in things that appear to be hard, don't do it for them. Watch what they do, and where they run into some challenges and difficulty. Try to facilitate what it is that's keeping them from moving on. So you want to love them unconditionally, pay attention to things that they engage themselves in, and you facilitate their learning and development. You also set some rules and regulations and stick to them. It's so easy to give in to children when children are smart. They know which buttons to push when we're attending to them and which buttons not to push. But you have to set some boundaries for them, because by setting the boundaries, it enables them to know what the limitations are, what the constraints are, what they can and cannot do. And then you have to be consistent. You can't allow it one day and not the next day. So they come to understand consistency. They come to understand what they can and cannot do. They come to understand this is accepted, this is not accepted. So these things, as I'm sharing with you, you want to affirm them every day. You want to pay attention to what they do, what seems to be challenging to them, and you want to facilitate their learning that, not do it for them. Pay attention to what's keeping them from moving forward and facilitate that. You want to set some rules and regulations and stick to them. It's important that at the preschool age, children have opportunity to engage with their peers. That's important because there are other social skills that they're developing just by being around ones that are just like them. So, all of this is to say that you are laying the foundation for them in terms of their confidence. You also don't want to overpraise them. Okay. You have to, overpraising them can do as much harm as not. And you have to know what's appropriate given the age that they're in. And a lot of times as they're doing things, the mere fact that they can do it is praise enough. So you don't want to overpraise them. Another thing you want to do is to allow them to engage and explore in things that are of interest to them. Okay, so exploration and discovery helps to build confidence. They learn within themselves what's doable and how they can do it. So the whole issue of confidence means that as we get into the content areas further down, the math and the science, once they have a good feeling about, I can do this, once they have a good sense of self, they are apt to be more outgoing and exploring and discovering. Okay, so we also want to watch what we say to them, because words impacts children's emotions and self-esteem. Sometimes we can say things that are cruel and hurting. So we want to be mindful of what we say and how we say it. All of what I'm sharing with you are elements of building self-confidence. And that goes a long way towards them having a good feeling about doing math, learning to read, engaging in science. All of what I'm sharing with you precedes that. Did I lose you, Diamond?
No, you didn't.
I mean, cause this is so disruptive because these things keep popping up, and I'm not sure whether it's interrupting